Good afternoon and welcome to Not Minding My Own Business. I am your estate planning and elder law attorney, Russell Farbiars, and your host of Not Minding My Own Business. And I am joined today by the president of the Northeast Berks Chamber of Commerce, Barbara Coffin. Excuse me. Welcome, Barb. How are you?
I'm very good, Russell. Thank you very much for the opportunity. It's a pleasure to be able to talk with you.
Absolutely. So as some of our listeners may or may not know, I formerly sat in Barb's seat as the president of the Northeast Berks Chamber of Commerce several years ago, pre-COVID. So it seems like a lifetime ago. And I thought it would be great to have Barb come on and talk about the Northeast Berks Chamber of Commerce, which, I wholeheartedly endorse as a great organization, particularly if you're building a small business in the Northeast Berks region. They are an invaluable resource to connecting members with each other. Now, Barb, why don't we start with some history? Can you tell us a little bit about the history of the Northeast Berks Chamber?
Well, the Northeast Berks Chamber has been around for about 30 years, and they were organized really because there wasn't much of a business support system for small businesses. And so the real niche for the Northeast Berks Chamber is small businesses. And while we bear the title of Northeast Berks, we really do cover a much larger territory. We have members who are, in not only in Berks County, but are in Lehigh and Montgomery County, as well as members that are part of national organizations that are outside of Pennsylvania and have a home office or a office here, or do business here in Berks County. So we have a much broader range than we did before, but again, our niche is basically working to help support the initiatives of small business. Small businesses have really faced major challenges post-COVID, trying to survive COVID if they were lucky enough to do that, and then moving on into trying to establish the new normal, which I don't think any of us know what that is or what it's going to end up being. Basically a small business doesn't have all the resources to be able to do all the remote kinds of things and maintain an office. So, there have been many, many challenges to small businesses. Unfortunately, a lot of our small businesses have not been able to meet those challenges and have closed or have merged with another business or have just left the area because the area couldn't support them anymore.
It's definitely true that COVID has probably disproportionately affected small businesses, particularly in this area. I mean, it was during COVID, there was a lot of financial support made available for businesses, but now supposedly we're past it. But I can tell you as a small business owner, it doesn't feel like we're past it.
No,
there's still ripple effects. What sort of ripple effects have you seen with the members of the chamber that people are still dealing with?
Well, again, there's a large combination of things. Probably the first thing is the difficulty with staffing, because small businesses can't really compete with the warehouses and the benefits as well as the salary levels of places like that. And a lot of people who worked in small businesses have gone to those initiatives because they do make a lot more money. So staffing is still a major issue, not only salary-wise, but even if you are paying people very well, we can't find people. They're just people that are in the job market. And I think the other thing is a lot of people are very concerned about going to work for a small business because they're not sure how stable they're going to be just by virtue of all the things that have happened in the last few years. So staffing is one of the major concerns of small business. The other thing is their changing marketplace, depending on what they are selling, whether it's a service or a product. Their marketplace has changed some. And the mechanisms of getting to that marketplace, as well as being able to process all the things because of the supply chain issues, are even more critical for small businesses. For example, a small business that's in the food purveyor business, may not have enough resources to be able to order from the large wholesale things. So they're still at the mercy of going to a Sam's Club or Costco or something and buying some of their supplies. But if they're known for a certain menu item and they can't get the ingredients for that, that really does hinder their business. So the supply chain issues are probably almost equal to the staffing issues for a small business. They don't have access to some of the other things that a large corporation has because of the volume of business that they do. So there is that piece also. And then the whole move in technology. Many small business owners have not had the kind of technical training and don't have an IT department to do that for them. So they're learning on the cusp of how to market, how to sell online, how to do the whole online kind of business. And that's a challenge also in trying to do that and revamp that while you're trying to maintain your current business.
Yeah, that piece in particular, I can tell you, pre-COVID, I didn't market online in any meaningful way, but now we do, because when everyone was locked down, how do you reach people when they're not out in the community? And there's a lot of people, that's the way they want to be reached still.
Right.
So it's definitely, I definitely see those challenges. Now, naturally, there are incredible benefits to being a member of a chamber, even as the marketplace and the economy sort of evolve. What are some reasons why the chamber is still relevant to the business community?
Well, again, I think that is I don't think the reasons have changed. The beginning is that there is a certain amount of credibility that goes along with being a chamber member. And if people are coming to the community or people are looking for resources, it's not unusual to have them contact the chamber and say, do you have a listing of people who do X amount? And who are they? How can I get in touch with them? Because of the credibility that exists, that just because you're a chamber member, there's a certain credibility that your business ethics are good, that you are a good business person, and that you provide what you say you're providing. So that particular piece is something that you can't buy anyplace else. The support system that exists within chamber members in working to help each other also is a real asset. And being able to reach out to another chamber member who may be having a similar business to you, or who, for example, is really good with social media and ask questions. There is a relationship. Chamber members often give discounts to other chamber members if they use their services. So there is that particular financial benefit. And then the other things of just being able to network and sell your product or your service. Networking events have gotten to be very popular because they tend to be small. You tend to be able to talk to everybody, and people are really interested to find out what you do and what kind of services you offer. So it's a good way to network. Now, the immediate return on that may not be tonight that somebody says, hey, I need to employ you to do this and this. But in 6 weeks, when somebody suddenly realizes they need that service, they know where to go back to. And that's another benefit of chamber membership, and being able to work with like people and develop like commentary. The other thing is that the chamber does provide both locally and online a wide variety of training resources and relationships with other entities. For example, the Small Business Administration, they also have a list of what's going on in the world through the U.S. Chamber. You get the updates about what is happening legislatively that may or may not affect you, especially if you're in the whole business of global business. So, and then there are individual resources. For example, this chamber offers the stamp for importing, and that's a free benefit for members. There are other, things like that individual chambers then also offer their members that make it feasible to be a member.
Absolutely, and I think that those connections are really important between members. because when I was an active member of the Northeast Berks Chamber, one of the things I recalled is how intimate it seemed, compared to some bigger chambers where you could really get to know people and develop real relationships with them. What are some ways that the chamber is helping people create those relationships and those bonds?
Well, we do have our list of networking events, and a matter of fact, we are next week having a cigar and bourbon event. Now, I know that doesn't attract everybody, but anybody who likes to have a cigar and drink bourbon, that's a fun event. And again, it's a good opportunity to get to know other people and to have the ability to just spend some time talking with people and getting to know them and their business on a different level than what you have experienced on the more superficial level. We have periodic, as I say, networking events. We have had some educational events where we have sponsorships and a sponsor who will talk about their business. We run our monthly breakfasts, and the really nice thing about our breakfast is that 4 times a year we honor students from the schools in our area, and they are honorees for a variety of reasons, not just a stellar GPA average, and those kinds of professional based goals. Some of the times these kids, this is the only award they're going to get for being excellent in accounting or some other particular aspect. And it's so good to see the pride and the joy of those young people in being able to achieve something and being rewarded. And obviously we're looking for people who may be doing an internship at one of the local companies, our awards are not definitely always, as I said before, GPA based. So it does look for another group of people. The other thing, we have our annual dinner coming up. It's going to be the end of October, and I hope everybody registers. It's going to be really a fun evening. We'll be at the DoubleTree, and Craig Poole is going to be our keynote. And I think for anybody who has not had the opportunity to listen to Craig, he's a very interesting, inspiring speaker. And if you have heard him, he always has something new to say. And he certainly is a stellar model of an entrepreneur. So that should be, a very interesting event and lots of fun. So those are the kinds of things the chamber is doing. The traditional things, we try and get alerts out to all our members. We also do a lot of advertising. If you have an event or you have something coming up or you need something publicized, we use our network to publicize that on a regular basis.
So absolutely. Now the event in October, do you know what the date yet is for October?
26th of October, I believe.
And I'm glad to see that there's the annual dinner. I know when I was active on the board, we did the first one of those. It was the 25th anniversary of the chamber,
right?
And it was great to get people out to. I remember we had a majority of the founders of the chamber at that dinner, and that was kind of neat. And to be honest with you, Barb, in our break room in the downstairs of our office, on our refrigerator, we have a newspaper clipping from that event still up because so it's a great event, and so I encourage anyone who's listening, come out to the event.
Yeah, come out and join us. Again, I think it should be really fun, and I think having it at the DoubleTree indicates to people that we have a much broader membership.
Absolutely,
it's just not people in the Kutztown, Fleetwood, Topton area that are members of our chamber, but it should be a really interesting, exciting event, and we can guarantee that the food will be excellent.
Yes, and you hit on something important there too, is that when this chamber started, it was the Kutztown Area Chamber of Commerce, and that changed over the years because you really do reach a much larger geographic area, and it really is the entire Berks County area. And so just because you see the phrase Northeast Berks Chamber doesn't mean that if your business is in Shillington, for example, that you shouldn't think about being a member, because the Northeast Berks Chamber really has a lot of benefits and really focuses on small businesses. Am I right?
You're absolutely right. And again, I think that the important thing is that we do focus on small businesses. That's our niche. It's the small business. The large businesses, and that's large business in this area has very much their own support system. They have the staffing and technology to support those initiatives. And most of them have their own training groups now and their own ability to do a lot of the things they internally need. Small business just doesn't have those resources. And that's the point that the chamber participation can really help.
And what resources do you think does the chamber provide for small businesses to help support them?
Well, one of the things we provide is referral to another small business. As I said earlier, one of the things that a lot of chamber members do is provide discounts to other chamber members who may need their services. And that's especially true in the whole social media design kind of thing, because that's one of the places that people are missing. The other thing that we have been trying to work with businesses about is trying to analyze what your business infrastructure is and what kind of support systems are appropriate for you. For example, if you have a small business and you do all your own bookkeeping and payroll, and maybe you have 3 or 4 employees, or maybe 5 or 6, and you need to be able to look and analyze it. How much time is the bookkeeping piece taking of your time? Number one. Or 2, how good are you at it? Is it something you really love doing? Or is it one of those chores that you open the drawer at the end of the month and go, oh my gosh, I didn't even separate these receipts. And would looking at contracting for that business be more efficient for you, more effective for you, and trying to get businesses to look kind of outside the box at the way they've always done business. Again, in light of what's happened in the economy, as well as the post-COVID environment with all the remote work that people are doing and all of the change in online and all those kinds of things. So that's one of the kinds of support services. We do try to survey members and get an idea of what are you looking for? What kind of support and resources do you need? And so what can we develop and provide for you? One of the things that has been very popular and we've had reasonable attendance at has been cybersecurity. And I think most small businesses, that's kind of on their back burner, like who's going to bother to hack me? I haven't got anything anyway. Well, it's not a matter of if somebody's going to hack you. It's a matter of when will it happen? And you better make sure you have the right insurance for whatever it is that you have and where and how you have protected your customer base, et cetera, et cetera. So, those are the kinds of things that we are looking at trying to support people with. And the other thing then is referral to people. If you're looking at needing support for your business, maybe we would refer you to the SBA or to the Small Business Development Center at Kutztown University or to one of the other programs that's happening around the area, especially through the colleges, and provide that kind of resource and assistance for you.
Well, and that's important. You have all of the resources, and you can connect people. And that's one of the things that I always loved about the chamber is that if you go to the chamber with a problem, they're going to give you three different people who can help find a solution. And when you're a small business or a solopreneur, you need that. You don't have the ability or the time to find those solutions all the time, and you need that resource in your back pocket. Now, Barb, if someone is interested in joining the chamber, what is the way that they would join the chamber?
Well, probably the easiest way for most people right now is to go online and just Google Northeast Berks Chamber. What will come up is a link to our website. All of the information is there. Membership applications are there. They can all be done online. And, or if there's contact information there also. Treva Florence is our executive director, and she can be contacted by email. We'll set up a appointment with you to discuss your membership and just go from there. The other thing that we are going to be doing, and there will be publicity on it, we're going to be holding some networking sessions. For example, we are starting a women's group, and on June 14th, women will be getting together to network, and we will be trying to use that group to try and see what kind of needs women entrepreneurs have and how we can address that. That meeting will be in Reading at Bistro B2 from 4:30 to 6:30 on the 14th of June. Anybody who's interested in joining us, please just email the chamber and we'll get you on the registration list.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Barb, for joining us. Anyone who's out there, if you're on the fence, join the chamber. I can tell you that it's an invaluable resource. At one point, back a couple of years, we started a title company in our office, and I'll never forget the amount of publicity and work that the chamber did for a ribbon cutting ceremony that we had. It's just, when you think about the small amount that you spend on a membership and the amount that you get out of in terms of resources and connections, it's probably one of the best memberships you'll pay for. So I encourage everyone to embrace the chamber.
And the Northeast Chamber is very reasonably priced.
It is.
The high price chambers. When you mentioned that we also do ribbon cuttings, but what we've expanded to is if you have an anniversary coming up, if you've been in business 10 years or 15 years, it won't be a ribbon cutting, it's an anniversary celebration. We also encourage people to do open houses. If you have changed something in your business, or if you just haven't had anything public for a long time and want to attract other people to find out who you are. And all of that is a resource that we offer to you also to help support that and to publicize that for you.
Well, wonderful. Well, I really appreciate the information and having you on the show. I'll give you the last word. Is there anything else that you think our listeners need to know about the chamber?
No, but we hope you sign up for the dinner. Again, if you're a woman entrepreneur, we'd love to see you on the 14th. And if you really are into cigars and bourbon, call the chamber. That event is still open.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Barb, for being here on Not Minding My Own Business.
Thank you, Russell. It was a pleasure working with you again.